I think I fully regret buying a house now. Like, it's not the worst choice I ever made, but it's so expensive. But at the same time, it's exactly what rent would be costing me anyways. I'm almost an hour away from where I want to be and almost an hour away from work. It's a lot of upkeep, a lot of maintenance. I feel like the housing market could crash at any minute, and interest rates were high when I bought it, and so were prices. I rationalized it by telling myself, well, it's the same amount as rent and I should get something back out of it at the end of the day, which honestly at this point might not even be true. And I'm far away from everything and I have an hour-long commute and I'm tired and I'm in a 3-bedroom house and I live alone. I'm very thankful that I'm able to do this. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know if it was the right choice and I'm stressing over it right now. And I've only been here for like 8 months. I don't know what to do.
Buyer's remorse is a real thing, and we have been living through this for the last couple of years. Anyone who's been selling a home from 2019 and 2020, I don't think it's even a recent feeling, even though this story from this individual is just from 8 months ago. But this is something that we've been seeing because of the economic pressures, the job loss pressures, and the market continuing to collapse here. But what can you do to protect yourself from having that buyer remorse? That means making sure that you're not in this type of position 6 months or 6 years down the road. You want to be making sure that you are making the right decisions. And just, listening to this gentleman's story, and I do feel for him, I find that in most cases when there is buyer remorse, it's due to the consultation and the advisement that they've had from an agent. Just hearing a couple keywords from this individual, for example, he was living about an hour away from family, from work, and yes, the fundamentals seem correct in terms of, hey, I'd be owning this house for the same amount of rent that I would be paying, and those fundamentals sound strong, but once you start peeling back the layers here, there's a lot of things that should have been raising some red flags that agent should have advised him about. If you are having to travel well over an hour to get to work or to see family and you're isolating yourself, maybe that type of lifestyle does not make sense. He also mentioned, the maintenance. A lot of people do not understand when they are buying something such as a detached home that there is a lot of maintenance that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to cut the lawn. You're going to have to repaint the outside. If there's a fence, you got to stain it. And if those items have not been talked about, which it seems it has not been, because something like this, you should know that there's going to be a lot of maintenance with a detached home. Another red flag for me was just the 3-bedroom marker too. He's buying a detached home that's a 3-bedroom. I feel that is going to be a liability when he goes to sell in the future. 3 bedrooms, that's more so suited for townhomes, maybe duplexes. When you are looking for that resale value in the future, you are really hamstringing yourself because not a larger family can go in and move into there. Especially people moving from home. If you need a home office and you need a space for yourself, you only have 1 free bedroom. So I see a lot of red flags in this particular story for this gentleman. I feel very bad for him. There's a lot of pressure going on, and with those feelings, he does have some options. Perhaps he can, perhaps rent that out and get back closer to the city. Or at the end of the day, he clearly had the funds to be able to make a move, but at the end of the day, he chose to go with that detached route. Would have made more sense to buy a condo closer to the city, closest to his family and friends. That may have been a better option for him. It's just very hard in this market. And that means when you are thinking of buying, that you need to understand all the components, not just the dollars and cents. For this individual, it made dollars and cents to make this move, but you can see the regret there. And that's why it's really important when it comes to choosing the type of floor plan, the type of location, even the segment of house, that you really understand exactly what you're getting yourself into so you don't have that buyer remorse. Because at the end of the day, if it gets bad enough, this person might be putting this property back on the market, losing a lot of money just to come back, and now he is behind the 8 ball. Especially for a young person, you've worked so hard to save. You really want to make sure that you're protecting that asset. In this market, yes, there's a ton of selection, but it is so critical that you are purchasing homes that don't have those red flags. And that is my advice to all my buyer clients right now, making sure that this is a property that does not have those red flags. You don't know the next time a down market's going to happen. You can't predict that. Life happens. You may lose your job. You may need to move. Maybe there's a death in the family. And because you can't control the market, obviously it is the best to sell in a hot market. Everyone would love to do it, but there's cases where it is depressed, and the people that have these issues are seeing it and reflected big time in the sales price. You just can't move these products right now. So when we talk about some of those red flags, if you're looking more so in the strata segment, making sure that you're having open concept floor plans, that you have an open kitchen, it's not compartmentalized, there's no curvature. There's a lot of properties in downtown Vancouver along the water where they have these cylindrical buildings. You'd want to have straight lines, no diagonals, no curves. If you're buying a 2-bedroom condo, for example, make sure that there is at least 2 bathrooms. as well as hopefully 2 parking stalls as well. If you're going on that detached segment and there's some opportunity obviously right now, don't just get into a detached home because you can just afford it because the market has dropped. If you're buying something with a small frontage, with a smaller type of property, those are issues that are going to plague you in the future as well. And I have another video here with a little bit different perspective of buyer's remorse that I'm going to watch here and give some reaction to as well.
My biggest financial regret that I've ever had in life was purchasing a home back in 2021 for these 3 reasons. Number 1, I had to put a 30% down payment on my home. My down payment was roughly around $330,000. I bought my 2-bedroom, 3-bath townhome for $910,000. And the reason why we had to put so much down at the time was just because of my income. I was only making around, I think, $100,000 to $110,000. That was the only way we could get the math work. Now, my monthly mortgage payment, if you factor in interest, taxes, HOA, etc., it's roughly around $4,200. If I was renting right now, I could probably rent a really nice 2-bedroom condo or an apartment for $3,500. So that would save me $700 a month. However, had I just not bought a home, I could have taken that $300,000 and $10,000, $20,000 that I used as a down payment and just invested in the stock market. We all know the stock market bottomed in 2022 and, fuck man, you see where it is today, right? I could easily have an extra, at the very minimum, couple $100,000 in my stock portfolio. Number 2, in the market that I live in, renting is actually cheaper than buying a home. Again, as I previously stated, I probably am paying an extra, $700 to $1,000 more per month by owning a home rather than renting one. And then number 3, owning a home is just really, really overrated. There's maintenance that you have to worry about. I've already had to replace an AC and my home is like 3 to 4 years old. So it's actually really, really new. I'm sure at some point I'm going to have to replace a dishwasher, a washer and dryer. Owning a home is not cheap. There are a lot of expenses that come with maintaining a home, and you have to do it yourself. If I lived in an apartment complex, I could call the landlord and then they would send somebody to help me fix the problem. Honestly, if I could do it again, I would just rent a nicer apartment or a condo, whatever, in a nicer community, and then just invested my money instead in the stock market. But again, everybody's different. Everybody has different ways to invest and build wealth. Real estate is not one avenue of building wealth that I really like. All right, guys. Hope you guys like this video. Make sure you guys follow and like for more.
So there's a couple things here. You're hearing this from a different perspective. This one's more so a financial perspective as opposed to the one who is more of a lifestyle perspective. There's a couple things that I flagged here that I want to bring up here. And the first thing is that 30% right off the bat. Why was he needing to put 30% down on a home, you may ask? Is because he did not have the income to be able to make it work. And this is what we see time and time again. And this is why a lot of people get into trouble. They extend themselves so much more than what they can afford. In a typical purchase in Canada, under that $1 million mark, you're only putting 5% down up to $500,000, then 10% up to the balance. So he did not have to put anything near that amount of money, but because he was not making near enough, he had to push to those limits. First and foremost, there's some discipline issues there, really wanting to jump into something. The property, I'm sure, was beautiful and it's really easy to get emotional about it. But again, that's where having an advisor that is your agent to try to pull back on the reins to really understand if this is a good decision. He also mentioned, hey, if I would have invested that money, I would have made hundreds of thousands of dollars in the market. But my perspective is, if you're undisciplined and really going beyond your means on a property purchase like this, I highly doubt that you're going to be able to take that amount of money and invest it in the stock market. I have some of these buy versus rent calculators, and I've done this even on my podcast. If you take a property here for whatever the rent may be and even show no appreciation over the next 25 years and you've rented that same 25-year portion, even with zero appreciation, buying usually comes up on top. So that is something to keep in mind. Yes, there is an argument to rent. Yes, the rental market is down right now, but to really take advantage of renting versus owning, you have to be very, very disciplined in terms of being able to not look at your bank account that's continuing to stack up if you're saving, and being able to invest that properly. Keep in mind, depending on where those investments are, if it's a principal residence, anything that you sell is going to be tax-free. If you are going outside of your TFSA, you're going to have to pay capital gains on those investments as well. So this is something that I want to really hit home here today. on your financing side of things, do not stretch yourself. We have so many court-ordered sales right now. We have so many foreclosures because people back in 2021 overextended themselves when interest rates were quite low. And now we're having this huge renewal tsunami and people are getting caught with their pants down and having their homes foreclosed on. In this market, even if there's some good value, make sure that you're leaving that buffer. Make sure that you have a rainy day fund. And if that means, we can't get into a detached, maybe the townhouse property is a little bit better of a advisement. And maybe that means don't get into that detached property, and a townhouse or a duplex is a better choice because you can save a little bit more. Do not stretch yourself, because if you're in a strata, your strata fees continue to go up, your property taxes go up, special levies are going to come on board. And if you have the detached home, similar to that first individual that we were listening to, there's maintenance, right? So you got to make sure that you have something left over to get you through some tough times.